So then my dogs were cleared and everything was fine. And then I had to add an additional fence to the pool. And by the time I was able to get that taken care of, Millie had already been placed in another home. So they said she's going to stay where she is.
And how did it come about that after July of 2017, Millie actually ended up with you after being placed somewhere else?
My understanding is she went to a couple different places in between. A couple of phone calls I got asking if she could come, live with us. I always said yes when I got that phone call. And then sibling visits started at our house. And, DFACS had kind of started talking about permanent placements and what that was going to look like and wanting the sisters together. And then she came to visit. We took her on a family vacation with us. And at that point, she was placed with Peggy Banks. And when we got back from our Thanksgiving vacation to the beach, when I was transitioning Millie back to Peggy, she mentioned that she felt that Christmas or winter break would be a good time for Millie to transition into my home.
And step back a little. You went on a family vacation with the 3 girls in November of 2017?
Yes, we invited Millie to go with us.
And at that time, where was Millie living?
With Peggy Banks.
And whose idea was it at that time for Millie to transition to live in your home?
I wanted her the entire time, but it wasn't until there was Peggy was wanting her to stay with her, but then she mentioned it. She knew that obviously I was open to it and wanted that to happen, but then she had changed her mind and thought that was what was best for Millie.
When did Millie officially move into your home?
She officially moved in on December 27th of 17.
And did you spend that Christmas with Millie?
I did. Christmas is very big to our family, so I wanted to make sure she was with us.
And after December 27 of 2017, was Millie permanently with you up until this time?
Yes.
And were you present for the hearing regarding the termination of Tessa's parental rights and the father's?
Mm-hmm.
And what was that date?
June 8th.
Of what year?
Of 18.
And what was the date that Millie and her sisters were officially adopted?
3/18/19.
Now, at the time that Millie began to live with you in December of 2017, how old was she?
6.
And at that time, what, if anything, did you know about Millie's first 6 years of her life?
I didn't know a lot of information. I knew she had been in several different places. Obviously, I had heard that she was in the home where her sister passed away, that, there was, potentially, some issues that she may have been through, just trauma in general from all of the moving, things that she had experienced and been a part of, but that was about it.
Did you know anything about Millie's medical history prior to her coming to stay with you? Mm-hmm. And how come you didn't have any of her medical history?
Well, I'm not actually, privy to that information until she's technically placed in my home. But even when she was placed with me, any medical information was hard to get. Anything when her time in Henry County, I was just told that no one could access that information, so they had nothing to give to me. But that when she was adopted, then I would have all medical records.
And at this time, have you been able to get all of Millie's medical records?
No, I have very spotty records.
And were you at the time that you adopted or started fostering Millie, were you able to get any of the DFACS records?
No.
Did you know Tessa Daniel prior to fostering Millie and her sisters?
No.
Did you know Millie or her sister's biological fathers prior to fostering Millie and her sisters?
No.
And did you know Peggy Banks prior to fostering Millie?
No.
Since fostering Millie and then adopting Millie, have you met Tessa Banks?
Briefly,
Tessa Daniel.
yes, briefly in court. We have had email conversations.
And since fostering and adopting Millie, have you had conversations with Peggy Banks?
Yes.
Now, when Millie first came to live with you, what kind of child was she?
Sweet, energetic. She had trust issues. She had a very hard time just trusting almost anything. I think rightfully so. She loved being with her sisters and was great to, help take care of them, per se. She would have some attention-seeking behaviors. I think coming now all of a sudden being back in the oldest of 2 and, just wanting to have my attention, at times. And as I think a typical 6-year-old will do, they'll get it any way they can get it.
And what kind of things would she do to get your behavior?
She would just, wouldn't maybe do something when I asked her to do it, or if I would tell her to go brush her teeth or get in the shower, or, pick up her clothes or her toys. Or she would tell me she did do those things, and then I would, of course, come to find the clothes still on the floor, or her toothbrush was dry, things like that.
Now, what does Millie do, or how does she act when she gets nervous?
She gets this kind of funnier, giggle, laugh. She tends to make grand gestures when she's lying, and she talks. She either goes really quiet or she tries to overtalk.
So you've seen Millie do a giggle or a laugh when she gets nervous?
Yes.
Now, how often have you and Millie talked about the death of her sister Layla, as well as Millie's experiences at the Rosenbaums?
Very rarely. It's definitely something that she does not want to talk about. I don't push the issue. We talk about Layla all the time. But we just don't talk about her experiences.
When you talk about Layla, what kind of things are you talking about?
She'll tell me about things that Layla liked to do, what she was like, and she'll just tell stories of they would read, she would read a book, to Layla, those kind of things.
And how come Millie doesn't like talking about her experience at the Rosenbaums?
I would object that it's a question that can't be answered by a third party. Why Millie wouldn't do something or would feel a certain way. That's asking for speculation.
The witness may have first-hand knowledge from Millie.
I'll sustain the objection.
Now, has Millie ever told you anything about what happened to her while living at the Rosenbaums?
She has made a couple brief statements, throughout the course of our time together.
Now, how would these statements begin? How would they come up?
Very, very random. Looking back, I still can't ever think about how it would come up. We may just be in the car and she would just make a statement, or we might be talking about something, that we want for dinner, and then she'll go into why she doesn't want something. But then she makes a statement and moves on.
Have you ever asked her directly about what happened at the Rosenbaums?
No.
And when Millie would make these statements, would you ask her questions?
No.
What exactly has Millie told you about what happened to her at the Rosenbaums?
She's, I think, mentioned 4 different things that had happened. One of them being that she and Layla would get in trouble if they fell asleep in the car, and they would receive spankings if they would get in trouble and or receive spankings if they ever fell asleep in the car.
Did she tell you anything else?
She said at one time she wasn't doing something fast enough, so Jennifer twisted her ankle and sat on her.
And when she told you this, did you ask her any more questions?
I didn't, because I have no information as to what happened, and I mean, never having, a child this age, especially a child of trauma, I didn't want to ever make it worse. I didn't want to make her talk about something, because when she would make these statements, it was a one and done. She would say it, and before she could finish that sentence, she had already changed the subject, and it was clear she did not want to talk about it.
And what was the 4th thing that she told you about being
Okay, spankings. But she had said at one point that she was forced to eat mashed potatoes until she vomited, and then was forced to eat the vomit.
And how did that statement come up?
We were talking about things, always trying to come up with different things to have for dinner. It becomes challenging that you have 3 kids that will eat. So I'm always trying to get them to tell me things that they like, because if they tell me they like it, then they can't sit at the table and tell me they don't. And so we talked about potatoes, and does she like potatoes of any kind? And she said no.
And that's when this topic of mashed potatoes came up. Now, other than what Millie has told you, do you know anything else about how Millie was injured at the Rosenbaums?
No.
And other than what Millie has told you, do you know anything else about Layla's death?
Obviously when this first happened, I definitely followed along any media coverage, any, articles in the newspaper, anything that was published, when it happened.
Have you ever told Millie about what you've learned in the media?
No.
Now, you've been in the courtroom for most of this trial, and at any point have you gone home and told Millie about what you've heard in court?
No.
Have you ever gone home and questioned Millie about things that were said in court?
No. One thing, I do want to say one thing. We did talk about procedural. She would ask what happened, and I would be like, we selected a jury today, or we listened to people talk, but never anything that was said. But we did talk about picking jury.
And why have you been in the courtroom for most of the trial?
Because I'm her mother.
And have you been able to learn some information about Millie's past since being in the courtroom? And is that important to you?
Very. It's hard to not know what your child's been through.
Now, at the time that Millie came to live with you, was she seeing a therapist named Ann McCullough?
To us.
And when Millie came to live with you, did you continue to take her to see Ann?
I did.
And was there a time when you, Millie, and Millie's great-grandmother, Peggy Panks, met with Miss McCullough?
We did.
And how did that meeting come about?
In just kind of passing, I felt that Millie may see Peggy and I, having kind of a loyalty issue, and I thought that if she could see Peggy and I together as a united front, wanting nothing but the best for her, that might help her, just feel better, just when she gets uneven about things and the transition.
And during that meeting, did you go through Millie's different placements with her?
Yes, because I had no, concrete knowledge of her background.
And was Peggy Banks the one that kind of gave you that information?
She did. Mm-hmm.
And during that meeting, did you ever discuss or Millie ever talk about her time at the Rosenbaums?
Not. That wasn't talked about in the sessions that I was part of, other than their place in the timeline.
Why did, at some point did Millie stop seeing Ann McCullough?
Yes. Ann's office is in McDonough. We live in Newton. So it just wasn't, after a while, it just became troublesome to drive that far, each and every week when I could find something closer.
And how far was the drive from your place to Ann's?
I think it was about an hour. We would come from different places from school or whatnot, but I think it was roughly an hour.
And you'd be doing that about once a week?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if Millie told Ann about anything about the death of her sister?
I believe she did, yes.
But you don't know any.
I don't know any specifics as to what was said.
Do you know what, if anything, Millie told Ann about living with the Rosenbaums, her experience?
I know that she did, but I don't know the specifics as to what she said.
When did Millie stop seeing Ann?
I believe it was in March of 18.
And after March of 2018, did Millie see another therapist?
A couple months later, we started up with one closer to home.
That would be approximately May of 2018?
I believe we started in July of 18.
And what was the reason that you took Millie to see Donna, the other therapist?
Honestly, she had been, in counseling for, so long. What little I did hear about what she had been through, I felt anyone would need continued counseling and therapy. And so I felt it was best to continue what she had already been.
And at that time, were you also seeking some guidance or help in how to parent a 6-year-old?
Yes. My situation's a little bit more unique. I didn't have any children of my own before I started fostering, so I was learning day by day as the little ones were getting older. And then when Millie came, I had never parented a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6-year-old, let alone a child with trauma in her history, that I wanted to make sure that I was doing it right, and I wasn't, I don't think any parent knows what they're doing, but I wanted to make sure I was overly cautious that I wasn't going to cause her any trauma or anything like that.
And how often would Millie see Donna?
I would say on average 3 times a month. Schedules would come up and, but I would say on average 3 times.
And what, if any, concerns did you bring to Donna's attention?
Similar to the ones I, mentioned before, attention-seeking behaviors, getting into, Millie telling lies, and just, why not brush your teeth? How do I, turn this around so we can, just get to doing things maybe the first or second time I ask her to do it versus the 5th or 6th.
And was Donna able to teach you some techniques on how to handle or parent a 6-year-old?
Yeah, she would always have, ideas for whatever. Because I would just ask, almost any time she came, I would have some sort of scenario that I'd be like, what do you think?
So she came. Where did the sessions take place?
She would come to the house. She came to our house.
Now, was there a time that Millie discussed Layla's death at school?
Yes.
And was that brought to your attention?
It was.
And was this discussion brought to Donna's attention?
It was.
And how come you brought it to Donna's attention?
Because Millie doesn't talk about what happens. So anytime she does, I feel the door is open and I want to know, is there a reason, was there a trigger that brought her that wanted to talk about it? What caused it? And if she wanted to talk about it now, I wanted to make sure she had the avenues to do it in the best way for her.
Did you talk to Millie about that conversation she had at school about Layla's death?
I did.
And was Millie able to tell you why she discussed Layla's death?
It started with a prayer request at school that morning, and there was some of her classmates were sharing a passing of a grandparent or a sick family member, and I think she wanted to participate in the conversation.
And why was this conversation concerning to you?
It's very heavy information for children. I was concerned that Millie was now wanting to talk about it, but unfortunately it wasn't with appropriate people.
And what exactly did Millie say to her classmates?
She told them that her sister was killed. I think that it kind of had come up in multiple times throughout the day. So, I may not have the order of what was said and when, but I was told that she had said that her sister was killed. Her sister had been choked, at one point choked on chicken, that I believe she said organs had been split into,
And
or cut in half, maybe.
Cut in half, okay. And when you first approached Millie about what she had told her classmates, did she deny that she had said it?
Yes.
And at that point, did you have a conversation with her about being honest with you?
Yes.
And at some point, did she eventually tell you? what she
Eventually.
said?
Mm-hmm.
And during that conversation, well, let me ask you this. Is Millie, in your experience, able to distinguish what she's heard and what she's personally observed with her own eyes?
I think so.
You have to get out of objective speculation and asking for a conclusion she can't possibly know what he hears or observes.
As based on her personal knowledge.
You don't have this.
Was Millie able to tell you how she knew the information that she told you about her sister's death?
When it kind of came down to it, she was like, well, I think I heard that.
And as of today's date, does Millie still continue to see Donna?
Yes, she does.
And do you at all know Jennifer Rosenbaum?
No, do not.
And do you at all know Joseph Rosenbaum?
No.
Do you have any relationship with any of Millie or her other sister's family members?
No.
Thank you. No more questions.
Cross.
Good morning, Ms. Harrell. I just have a number of questions for you. My name is Corinne Moe. You've been sitting in the courtroom since the beginning of trial, haven't you?
I have.
So you've heard what all the witnesses have said. You've seen all the pictures. You have listened to all. You have seen all the exhibits that have been
Yes.
filed. And it's true, isn't it, that when you, excuse me, just a second. Let me just check on a page I'm missing. Staring me in the face. You had an occasion with Millie where Hannah, and Hannah is Merci, isn't it?
Yes.
That was her name by her biological mother was Merci.
Yes.
And she's now Hannah.
She is.
There was a time where you were exposed to the fact that Hannah fell down or hurt herself, was pushed, and had some bruising, and that Millie was the one who had pushed her, correct?
I don't remember that specifically.
You don't remember ever reporting to DFACS that Hannah had gotten hurt, and none of the girls would tell you how it happened.
Oh, okay, I know, yes.
So that did happen?
Yes.
Okay. And so none of the girls would tell you what happened, including Millie, and
In the beginning.
in the beginning, and then ultimately she fessed up to the fact that she had lied. Mm-hmm. Is that a yes?
Yes.
And you had lots of diaper rashes with the girls that you have now, the two younger ones, sisters of Millie.
Carly
Yes.
had several diaper rashes.
Okay. Now, with regards to Donna Wazorek, it's fair to say, isn't it, that basically she was brought into the picture to help Millie prepare for trial?
No,
No.
that is something that would have been discussed, but that's not the reason.
So that was not one of the reasons?
No.
And isn't it true that Donna Wazorek has attempted to prepare her for trial?
Depends on what you mean by prepare. They have talked about it, that she needs to get appearance and be honest.
And has been a problem for Millie all along, not just while you've had her, correct?
As far as lying,
Yes.
I would say about little things. Brushing her hair.
But you don't know her history other than the time she has been with you, correct?
I do not know.
And it's fair to say that great-grandma has a great deal of influence on Millie, correct?
I would say while she was living with her.
And Millie and her great-grandmother would have conversations, isn't that correct?
I'm not privy to the conversations they had.
But you were privy to the results of those conversations, weren't you? You were privy to the fact that,
If she wasn't aware of the conversation, she couldn't have privy to the results.
well, the results of the conversations with Millie, with her grandmother, how Millie acted when she was back home.
That's what you're getting to?
Yes, I'll rephrase.
Okay, thank you.
Your daughter, Millie, had problems with lying.
Yes.
You say about little things.
Little things,
Lying.
yes.
She also had a problem with doing what her grandmother told her she could do and you told her she could not do, correct?
Can you give me an example?
I know I can't give you an example. I'm asking you a question. Isn't it true that her grandmother would tell her things that you then would object to?
Oh, yes. I thought you meant telling her she could do something and I was telling her she couldn't do something.
You had issues with what was going on with her grandmother.
Yes, there was a few things I had issues with.
And in fact, those were discussed with Donna Wazorek, and Donna Wazorek being the therapist. And there were requests that when Millie was with her great-grandmother or her mother during the visitation period with her mother, that they have appropriate conversations, that they not engage in inappropriate conversations.
Well, I can't, are you saying when she visitations with Tessa?
Yes.
Millie did not have any visitations once she moved in with me, so I can't
You don't
say
know
to
about that.
But no, I definitely, asked Peggy to have, be mindful of when Millie was around and what was said in front of her.
And in fact, she was telling things about both the Rosenbaums and Millie and Layla's family.
I wasn't there, so I can't say for sure.
Okay. What was it that you were seeing that caused you to tell Peggy that you did not want her having these conversations with her?
One of them was saying that the only reason I wanted Millie to come and live with me was so the two younger sisters would stay with me.
And that you knew to be a lie.
It was because I said yes, from the night Layla died and several times after that for Millie to come live with us.
So to your knowledge, if Peggy did in fact tell her that, she lied.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I can't say that Peggy was lying because I don't know if she knew until much later into this process and Millie was living with me that I had mentioned all the times that I wanted Millie to come be with us. And she seemed surprised. So I don't know when she said those things. I just know that I had a problem with her saying that to Millie.
One of the treatment goals was to significantly reduce the frequency or eliminate lying altogether, wasn't it?
No parent wants their child to lie. So yes, that was absolutely able.
Yes.
Yes.
Is the answer.
Yes.
And she was getting in trouble at school for lying, correct?
Once, twice maybe?
She was getting in trouble at school. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Now, you would hear what she had to say to Donna Wazorek.
Not all the time. No, I was there for some sessions and other sessions they were not.
But you were there for some sessions.
Some of them, yes.
And it's true that one day you felt she made some statements that caused you to follow Donna Wazorek out the door and tell her that you had concerns that some of the memories Millie was having were not true, were not correct.
I remember saying that I was under the impression something different happened. But again, I had no knowledge of specifically what happened. So every time the sessions were over, I went outside with Donna to recap.
Okay, well, I'm asking you a question, a very specific question. Did you go outside and say to Donna Wazorek that you were concerned the memories Millie was speaking about were not true? Did you on that one day do that?
I don't remember specifically that day, but it is possible, yes.
It's possible.
Yes, absolutely.
There also were instances that Donna and you discussed where you felt that she made up her own past experiences, correct?
Yes.
And you don't know really how she was at age 3 or 4. You just
No.
know her from 6. So you don't know what her history was for lying back then.
No, I do not.
either. I'm going to show you what I... I'm going to show you what I've marked as Defendant's Exhibit 15 and ask you if you can identify this.
Yes, that is a picture of Carly and Millie at the girls' birthday party at my house for Hannah and Carly.
I will tender Defense Exhibit 15 into evidence, Your Honor, at this time.
Exhibit D15?
May I publish?
This is an image of Meyer, so that's the video.
Okay.
If we could get the lights, I'd appreciate that. Is this an accurate picture of Millie at what age?
That would have been, that was the girl's first and second birthday, so she would have been 6.
So who would she have been living with at the time?
Peggy Banks.
Okay. And these bruises we see on her legs, what, did you question anybody about them?
No,
Did you report them to DFACS?
no.
Thank you, on this picture. We'll show you Defendant's 14 and see if you can identify that for us.
That is a picture in one of her classmates, of Millie in one of her classmates.
Is this a bump on her head?
No,
It's not.
no,
You didn't report that to anyone.
no. And she was adopted at them, so I don't need to report it to anyone if there was a bump.
Okay, but as there was, if there was a bump, isn't it true that what we're seeing is in fact the highlight caused by the light?
Well, I'm not sure I don't see anything on there, so I'm not sure.
The light colored, if I may.
Yes. I'm not sure that's anything, but.
This right here is caused by the light, isn't it?
Okay.
This is the light bouncing off of her, isn't it?
Okay, yeah.
I have nothing further. Oh, one last question. I'm going to show you 121 as Defendant 16. Can you identify this picture for us?
Yes, that is Hannah and a family friend.
And Hannah is, again, just for the record, the child that was named Mercy,
Yes.
correct? At this time, Your Honor, I would tender into evidence Defendant's Exhibit 16.
You're going to address to relevancy.
And
And it's
then-
not a child that issue.
And family friend?
Yes.
Your Honor, this goes to, again, to lineage and to show certainly some of the features of the child that are similar to the features in Layla. And just want to show them at the same age as Layla.
Well, the relevant standard is not high. I'll admit it, let's work.
Thank you, Your Honor. What age, if I may, Your Honor, You're admitting defendant 16.
May I?
May I publish?
You may.
Thank you. What age is this picture of Hannah?
I don't remember specifically when it was taken. I would say maybe a little less than a year.
A little less than a year.
Maybe, somewhere right around her first birthday.
And she looks different now, doesn't she?
She's older.
And her face has grown out. She's grown out of the baby fat in her face.
Well, she still she still has chubby cheeks.
But she doesn't have cheeks that look like this right now, do they?
It might be slightly different.
Thank you. I have nothing further.
Would you like the lights down?
Yes, Your Honor. Based on your experience of now parenting young children, do young children sometimes lie?
Yes.
And when Millie would tell you lies, those would be about little things, as you said.
Yes.
And your concerns regarding some of the things that either Millie said, that's not necessarily the same thing as them being untrue, is it?
Yes.
Now, Millie got in trouble, I believe you indicated maybe 2 times for lying at school. What grade is Millie in now?
She'll be going into second grade.
Second grade. Second or third?
No, she's going into second.
Second?
grade.
So she's been in school kindergarten, first grade, second grade,
She's going into second grade.
and she's got in trouble twice for lying?
Yes, specifically.
And what were those?
The only one that I remember specifically was something to do with classwork, and she was supposed to be going and doing classwork. She grabbed one of the classroom iPads and was in with another group that she was supposed to be. She was supposed to be in a different group, and she was saying that she didn't know that she was supposed to be in that group, in a different group than where she was. And so the teacher was like, "I know I told you, so you do know." And she like,
The teacher said that's when it is.
Sustained.
So in all those 3 years, that was the lie she got in
the ones that
trouble.
that come to mind, yeah.
And when Millie pushed Hannah, did Hannah have any injuries?
She might have had a bump.
Anything that you had to take her to the hospital for? Do the siblings sometimes fight?
Yes.
Put on the overhead what's been marked as State's Exhibit 78. Did Millie ever come back from Peggy Banks's home with that type of bruise?
No.
If you had seen that type of bruise on Millie when she came home from Peggy Banks's, would you have taken her to the hospital?
Yes.
Would you have made a report?
Yes.
Would you have been concerned?
Yes.
And I'll show you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit 80. Did Millie ever come from Peggy Banks with injuries like that?
No.
Has Millie ever had a type of injury like that in your care?
No.
If you had ever seen an injury like that on Millie or any of your other children, would you have been concerned?
Absolutely.
Would you have made a report?
Absolutely.
Would you have taken them to the hospital?
Absolutely.
That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The objection is for this being excused.
No, Your Honor.
Let's go ahead and take our 15-minute morning break, and then we'll come back. Thank you.
Layla,
And who else lived in the house?
Jennifer, and Joseph.
And now I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 6. And do you recognize the picture?
Yes,
And how do you recognize it?
it's the door,
The door of what?
the house,
The house? Okay. And what house was that?
the house that we used to live in.
And you say used to live in. Who lived in the house?
Jennifer, me, Layla, and Joseph.
Your Honor, at this time I tender State's Exhibits 105 and 106 into evidence and ask permission to publish. So now I put 105. And is this the house you said you lived in with Joseph and Jennifer?
Yes,
And now 106. You see the picture behind you? Okay. And is that the front door?
I don't know.
Do you recognize what's on the front door?
Yes,
Okay. And how do you recognize it?
I saw it
And you saw it where?
on the door,
The door of what?
the house,
Okay. And what house?
the house, that we lived in.
Is that the house you lived in with Joseph and Jennifer?
Yes,
Now, when you lived with Joseph and Jennifer, was there anything you liked about it?
yes,
And what did you like?
that the front door was red.
Front door was red. Okay. Was there anything else you liked?
No,
Was there, when you lived with Joseph and Jennifer, was there anything you didn't like?
yes,
What are some of the things you didn't like?
because the bathroom was really small.
The bathroom was really small. And did you ever have a party at Noah's Ark?
Yes,
Did you like the party?
yes,
What was the party for?
my 5th birthday?
Fifth birthday? Could it have been your fourth birthday?
Yes,
Now, when you were living with Joseph and Jennifer, would you take a bath, a shower, something else?
a
A
bath
bath. And when you took a bath, did you take it with Layla or by yourself?
with Layla.
And would someone be in the bathroom to help Layla take her bath?
Yes,
Would Jennifer help you and Layla take baths?
yes,
Would Joseph ever help with the baths?
he helped with Layla's bath.
He helped with Layla's bath. And how come you didn't help with your bath?
I don't know.
Could you do your own bath?
Yes,
How about, could you dress yourself when you were living with Jennifer and Joseph?
yes,
What about Layla? Could she dress herself?
no,
If Layla couldn't dress herself, who would help Layla dress herself?
Jennifer.
Would Joseph ever help Layla dress herself?
Yes,
Now, when you went to bed, did someone put you to bed, help you go to sleep?
yes,
And who helped you go to sleep?
Jennifer.
Would Joseph ever help you go to sleep?
Sometimes.
This might be a silly question, but when you took a bath, did you have any clothes on?
Yes.
You had clothes when you took
I
a
mean,
bath?
no.
How about Layla, when she took a bath, did you have any clothes on?
No.
And when Layla was getting helped they helped Layla get dressed, did she have any clothes on?
No.
Did Layla wear panties or a diaper or something else?
A diaper.
Diaper. And what about you? Did you wear a diaper?
Panties.
Panties. When you were living with Jennifer and Joseph, did you ever see Jennifer and Joseph fighting?
No.
Did you ever see Jennifer and Joseph arguing?
No.
When you lived there, did you ever hear Jennifer and Joseph arguing?
No.
When you lived with Jennifer and Joseph, did Jennifer ever talk loudly?
Yes.
When you lived with Jennifer and Joseph, did Joseph ever talk loudly?
Yes.
When Jennifer was talking loudly, who would she talk loudly to?
Me and Layla.
And how come she was talking loudly to you and Layla?
Because she was mad.
And how come she was mad? Let me ask you this. What would Jennifer get mad at Layla about?
A lot of things.
A lot of things. And when Jennifer would get mad at Layla about a lot of things, what kind of things were those, Millie? You can turn and look at me over here a little bit. What kind of things would Jennifer get mad at Layla about? Millie, you said Jennifer would get mad at Layla about a lot of things. Do you know what those things were?
I know that she got mad at her for a lot of things, but I don't really know what they were.
Okay. And when Jennifer got mad at you, what did she get mad at you about?
Me not getting dressed fast enough.
Millie, when you wouldn't get dressed fast enough and Jennifer was angry, what would happen?
I would get a spanking
And when you would get a spanking, where on your body would you get a spanking?
on my butt.
And when you got a spanking on your butt, what did Jennifer use to give you a spanking?
Her hand,
Would Jennifer use anything else to give you spankings?
a belt,
Would Jennifer use anything else to give you spankings other than a belt and her hands?
no,
And when Jennifer gave you spankings with a belt, where would you be in the house?
in her room,
And when Jennifer would give you spankings in her room, where would Joseph be?
he would be like all over the house.
He would be all over the house. Would he ever be in Jennifer's room when you got spankings?
Yes,
What did Joseph do in Jennifer's room when you were getting spankings?
nothing,
Did Layla ever get spankings?
yes,
And who gave Layla spankings?
Jennifer,
And on what part of Layla's body did she get spankings?
same place.
Same place as you?
Mhm.
Is that the butt?
Yes,
Is that the butt you said?
yes,
And when Layla got spankings, what room did Layla get spankings?
the same room.
Is that Jennifer's room?
Yes,
And when Layla would get spankings in Jennifer's room on the butt, what would Jennifer use?
same things.
Is that the hand and the belt?
Yes,
And when Layla was getting spankings, where would Joseph be?
in the room.
And what would Joseph do?
Nothing.
Would Joseph say anything?
No,
Was Joseph awake?
yes,
Now, would Joseph ever spank?
no,
Would Joseph ever spank Layla?
no,
Now, what would you get in trouble about at Jen and Joseph's house? Let me ask you this one. What kinds of things did Jennifer not want you to do? I'm going to ask you a different way, okay? Was there anything, did you ever go on car rides with Joseph and Jennifer?
yes,
And when you went on car rides, was there something that you weren't supposed to do in the car?
sleep.
How come you weren't supposed to sleep?
I don't know.
When you went on car rides with Joseph and Jennifer, were there things Layla wasn't supposed to do?
Yes.
And what were those things?
Sleep in the car.
What would happen if you slept in the car?
You would get a spanking.
And did you ever get a spanking for sleeping in the car?
Yes.
Did Layla ever get a spanking for sleeping in the car?
Yes.
And when you got the spankings from sleeping in the car, where were you? What room did it happen, or place?
In her room.
You said her room. Is that Jennifer's room?
Yes.
And did Joe know about you? Did Joe know you weren't supposed to sleep in the car?
Yes.
Now, how did the spankings feel to your body?
It hurt.
When you got the spankings to your body, were your clothes on or off or something else?
Sometimes they were on, sometimes they were off.
Sometimes when you got spankings, would the belt touch your skin?
Yes.
Now, when Layla got spankings, were her clothes on or off or something else?
Same thing.
Same thing. When Layla got spankings, would the belt sometimes touch her skin?
Yes.
Did Layla ever hurt her leg when you were living with the Rosenbaums?
Yes.
Do you know how she hurt her leg?
In gymnastics?
Gymnastics? And were you there when she hurt her leg at gymnastics?
Yes.
And who told you her leg got hurt at gymnastics?
I don't remember.
Did Layla have to have a cast on her leg?
Yes.
How come she had to have a cast on her leg?
Because she broke it.
And how did she broke it? Do you know?
She fell off a gymnastics bar.
And did someone tell you that's how she broke her leg?
Yes.
Who told you that?
Girl, that's why you can ask and answer. She said she didn't remember.
Hello?
You can tell us who told you that. Let me ask you this. Did Layla tell you that's how she hurt herself?
No.
Did Joseph tell you that?
No.
Did Jennifer tell you that?
No.
Do you remember who told you that?
No.
Now, you went to the hospital one day?
Yes.
Do you remember the day that Layla died?
Yes.
And on that day, did you go to the hospital?
Yes.
Now, right before you went to the hospital, where were you?
At the house?
When you say at the house, was that Jen and Joseph's house?
Yes.
And what were you doing at the house before you went to the hospital?
Eating.
And what was Layla doing?
Eating.
And who was in the house when you were eating?
Jennifer.
Where was Joseph?
He was in the house too.
Okay. And when you said you were eating, and then what happened when you were eating?
I went upstairs.
And what did you do upstairs?
I watched TV.
Do you remember what you watched on TV?
Paw Patrol.
And when you went upstairs to watch TV, were you done eating?
Yes.
And when you were upstairs watching TV, did you hear anything downstairs?
No.
What's the next thing you remember after watching Paw Patrol?
Jennifer told me to come downstairs.
When she told you to come downstairs, did she come up and get you, or did she just use her words?
She used her words.
Where was Jennifer when she told you to come downstairs?
At the bottom of the stairs.
And when Jennifer told you to come downstairs, did you go downstairs?
Yes.
And when you went downstairs, where was Layla?
I don't remember.
And when you came downstairs, what did you do next?
We got in the car.
When you say we, who's we?
Jennifer and me.
And where did you go?
To the hospital.
Now when you were, I'm going to step back a little, you said you were eating. earlier that night before you went to the hospital?
Yes.
Was Layla eating too?
Yes.
Was, when, at that time, how did Layla eat? Did she use her hands, a fork and a spoon, or something else?
A fork and a spoon.
Would Layla ever need any help eating?
Yes.
And who would help Layla eat?
Jennifer?
Would you ever need help eating?
No.
When you went upstairs to watch Paw Patrol, was Layla still eating?
Yes.
When you went upstairs to watch Paw Patrol, what was Layla doing?
Eating.
Was she happy, sad, something else? Let me ask you this way. When you went upstairs to watch Paw Patrol, was Layla saying anything?
Yes.
What was Layla saying?
I don't know.
How was Layla acting when she said those things? When Layla said those things, was she giggling, crying, or something else?
She wasn't doing anything.
Was Layla, could you understand Layla talking, what she talked about?
No.
When Layla was talking and you went upstairs to watch Paw Patrol, where was Jennifer?
By her. By Layla.
Was Layla in a chair or a high chair or something else?
A high chair.
And where was Jennifer when she was by Layla?
She was helping her eat.
Was Jennifer sitting or standing or something else?
Sitting.
Now, how do you feel about talking about the day that Layla died?
Kinda sad.
And how do you feel talking about living at the Rosenbaum's house?
Same thing.
Do you like talking about living at the Rosenbaum's house?
No.
Do you remember ever going to a Miss Ann's office?
Yes.
And how did you feel about going to Miss Ann's office?
Good.
What kind of things would you do at Ann's office?
We talked about the same thing.
And what other things would you do?
She had a sandbox that I would play in.
When you say you would talk about the same thing, what thing would we talk? What thing would you mean?
About living at the Rosenbaums.
And do you still see Miss Ann?
No.
Do you instead see a Miss Donna?
Yes.
And does Miss Donna come to your house or do you go to her?
She comes to my house.
And what do you and Miss Donna do when she comes to your house?
We read books and we watch calming videos.
You read books and watch calming videos? And do you remember someone named Kaya Lambert?
Yes.
And who's Kaya Lambert?
Somebody that I used to live with.
Is she a child or an adult? Or?
Adult.
And do you remember Miss Larita Brown?
No.
Do you remember Lucas?
No.
Do you remember Michelle Chapman?
Yes.
Do you remember Anthony Chapman? Let me ask you this. Do you remember Michelle's husband?
No.
And do you remember Tiffany Shaw?
No.
And who is Peggy Banks?
My great-grandmother.
And what do you call her?
Nana.
Was there a time that you lived with Miss Nana?
Yes.
When you lived at Nana's, what kind of things would you do?
We would watch TV.
Would you do anything else at Nana's house?
I would play with the dollhouse.
Would Layla ever go to Nana's house with you?
Yes.
After you lived with the Rosenbaums, who did you live with next? If you remember.
I don't remember.
And now, do you like where you're living now?
Yes.
Do you like living with your sisters?
Yes.
Do you... Now let me ask you this. You said that you had a bunk bed,
Yes.
and where in the bunk bed did you sleep?
On the top.
On the top? Did you always sleep on the top?
Yes.
And Layla, where would she sleep?
On the bottom.
Were there ever times Layla didn't sleep in the bunk bed?
No.
Were there ever times that you didn't sleep in the bunk bed?
No.
Would Layla ever get up at night and cry?
No.
No. What about you? Would you ever get up at night?
No.
When you took naps, where would you take naps?
On the bunk beds.
On the bunk bed? Would you take naps ever in the living room?
No.
Would you ever take naps or fall asleep in Jen's room?
No.
How about Layla? Did Layla take naps?
Yes.
And would Layla take naps? Where would Layla take her naps?
In the bunk beds.
Would she always take a nap on the bottom bunk bed?
Yes.
Where else in the house did Layla fall asleep or take naps?
On the couch.
On the couch? Where was the couch?
In the living room.
In the living room? Any other couches you fell asleep on?
No.
Okay. Do you see Miss Joseph here in court today? If you need to stand up, you can.
Yes.
You do? Okay. And where is he?
Over there.
Let the record reflect the witnesses identified, Joseph Rosenbaum. And Millie, do you see Miss Jennifer in the courtroom?
Yes.
And where is Miss Jennifer?
Over there.
And what color is her shirt?
Blue.
Let the record reflect the witnesses identified, Jennifer Rosenbaum. Okay, Millie, I have no more questions for you right now, but Miss Corrine might have some questions for you, okay?
Okay.
Hi, Millie. Can I call you Millie?
Yes.
You can call me Corrine,
Okay.
okay? And Millie, I've got some questions to ask you,
Okay.
okay? And I want you to answer me if you know, okay?
Okay.
If you don't know, I want you to tell me you don't know.
Okay.
And if you don't remember, I want you to tell me you don't remember,
Okay.
okay? Would that make it easier for you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you remember going to gymnastics?
Yes.
Are you still going to gymnastics?
Yes.
And what are you doing now in gymnastics?
Cartwheels?
Cartwheels. Do you get on the bars?
Yes.
And did you like going to gymnastics when you were at the Rosenbaum?
Yes.
Do you remember trying to do cartwheels back then?
Yes.
Do you remember falling a lot?
Yes.
Do you remember trying to teach Layla how to do cartwheels?
No.
Do you remember trying to teach Layla how to do other gymnastics?
No.
No, you don't? Do you remember playing with Layla outside in the front lawn?
Yes.
Do you remember, how was Layla like? Did she like to follow you around?
Yes.
Because you were the big sister, right?
Yes.
And when you were living with your Nana, right? Did Layla come to visit often?
No.
Did she come once?
Yes.
And did she live with you? She didn't live with you there, did she?
No.
Do you remember Samantha White?
No.
Do you remember back then telling people that Jennifer was nice to you?
No.
You don't remember that?
No.
Do you remember calling her mom?
No.
Do you remember Jennifer working with you on your letters and numbers?
No.
Did you have a tablet? An iPad?
I don't remember.
Do you remember Miss Jennifer working with Layla on her words?
No.
Do you remember telling people that Nana told you to say you always wanted to stay with Nana?
Yes.
Nana told you a lot of things, didn't she?
Yes.
And she would tell you what to say to people, right?
No.
She didn't tell you what to say about staying at Nana's house?
No.
So what you said to me earlier, and I asked you, do you remember whether Nana told you to tell people that you wanted to stay in the house? Do you remember that?
Oh, yes.
Yes, okay. Do you remember telling anybody back then that Miss Jennifer nor Mr. Joseph ever hit you or spanked you? Do you remember that?
No.
Okay, you don't remember saying that?
No.
I'm going to show you some pictures. Would you like that?
Yes.
Okay. I just want you to tell me. I want to show you what I've marked as Defendant's Exhibit 17.
Okay.
Okay? Tell me, if you would, what that is.
It's a picture.
What's in the picture of?
Me and Layla.
And so when was it? Do you know when it was taken?
No.
Do you know whether was it when you were with the Rosenbaums?
Yes.
No, and if I could ask to tender into evidence Defendant 17 and to note that the stipulated date is June 7th, 2015.
Any objection?
No, no.
Make a motion.
We could have the lights up. Where are you? Where's the picture of you? Which one are you?
The one next to the blue car.
Next to the blue car. And what were you doing?
Eating ice cream.
Yeah. And what were you in?
The car.
Okay, was that a car you could drive?
No.
Okay, what kind of car was it?
You went shopping.
You went shopping in it. It was a shopping cart.
Yes.
So Miss Jennifer took you shopping with her, right?
Not all the time.
But sometimes she did.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm going to show you what I've marked as Defendant's Exhibit 18 and ask you to see if you recognize that picture.
No.
You don't recognize it?
No.
Okay. You don't, do you see a picture of yourself in there?
Right there.
So it's a picture of you, right?
Yes.
Who else is in the picture?
Layla.
And who else?
Jennifer.
At this time, Your Honor, I would tender into evidence Defendant's Exhibit 18,
Your Honor, object. The witness said she didn't recognize it.
and then she did recognize it.
No, she just identified people in the pictures.
So that's what the pictures are.
Submitted over objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. I ask that the record reflect that stipulated date is June 14th, 2015. May I publish, Your Honor?
You may.
Okay, where are you in this picture, Millie?
Over there.
Over there? What are you wearing?
A life jacket.
Okay, why were you wearing a life jacket?
Because I couldn't swim.
So do you remember going to the pool with Miss Jennifer?
No.
You don't remember that?
No.
I'm going to show you what I've marked as Defendant's 19 and ask you if you recognize that.
We were at the zoo.
Okay, and is this a picture of you at the zoo?
Yes.
Here at this time, I would tender Defendant's Exhibit 19 with a stipulated date of June 20th, 2015.
No objection.
Admitted. Your fault.
Okay. What were you doing there, Millie?
Playing in the splash pad.
Okay. And where was Layla?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay. Where did you get that swimsuit?
I don't know.
I'm going to show you what I've marked as Defendant's Exhibit 22 and see if you can identify that.
That's Layla and Jennifer.
This time I would tender Defendant's 22 with a stipulated date of July 4th, 2015. July 4th, 2015.
No objection.
Admitted.
May I publish, Your Honor? What's Layla got in her hand?
Glow sticks.
What are those? What do you do with them?
You play with them in the dark.
Oh, okay. I'll show you what I've marked as Defendant's Exhibit 24. Do you recognize that?
No.
Who's in this picture?
Me and Layla.
Who's speaking English?
Me and Layla.
So do you recognize the picture now?
Yes.
Okay. At this time, I would tender 24 in with a stipulated date of July 18th, 2015.
No objection.
Admitted.
It asks if I may publish it, Your Honor?
You may.
Do you remember what you were doing that day?
We were getting breakfast
Okay, you getting breakfast at Jennifer's home or outside the home?
outside the home.
Did you go out and eat sometimes?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as Defendant's 25 and ask you, do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is it?
It's Layla sitting in her high chair.
This time I would tender into the record Defendant's Exhibit 25 with a stipulated date of July 18th, 2015.
No objection.
Admitted.
May I publish?
You may.
Where was this? Can you tell?
At the house.
At whose house?
Jennifer's.
I'm going to show you a couple of pictures now. Actually, 3 pictures. Tell me if you recognize them. They're Defendant's Exhibit 27, 28, and 30. You can take it. What are the pictures of?
Layla, no, me going down the slide, me coming upstairs, and then Layla going down the slide.
Where did you go down slides when you were living with Jennifer Rosenbaum?
At the park.
I would tender into the record, Your Honor, Defendant's 29 28, 29, and 30.
Any objection?
27, 29,
28, 29, and 30.
No, Judge.
Admitted?
Now, that's the publisher.
Yes.
Tell us who this is.
Me going down the slide.
And who's this?
Me going upstairs.
Okay. Do you like to climb on things?
Yes.
Did Layla like to climb with you?
Yes.
Did she try to climb on a mail wagon once? You remember when the mailman came?
No.
You don't remember that?
No.
What is that a picture of?
Layla going down the slide.
And who's beside her?
Me.
And who took you to the park? Did Miss Jennifer take you to the park?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay. I'm going to show you what I've marked as exhibits 31, 33, 34, 35, and 36. Tell me, if you would, what those pictures are of.
The closet
The closet where?
at the house.
In whose room?
Ours. A mini kitchen. A train set. Another train set.
Another train set.
And then the bunk beds.
Are these all in your room at the Rosenbaums?
Yes.
Okay. Did you like your room at the Rosenbaums?
Yes.
The tender of evidence, defendants exhibit 33, 35, 36, 37, and 31. Stipulate dates of July 21st, 2015.
No, Judge.
Admitted?
If I may publish your order?
Admitted.
Tell us what that is.
The closet.
And whose clothes and shoes are those?
Me and Layla's.
And who got those clothes for you? Do you remember?
No.
31. Now, what is this a picture of, Millie?
The bunk beds.
Okay. And did you all like playing on the bunk beds?
Yes.
Did you jump on the bunk beds?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. And sometimes, you slept on the bottom. Did sometimes Layla jump on the bottom of the bed as well as the top bed?
She only jumped on the
On
bottom.
the bottom bed. And several times, isn't it true, Millie, that she would bump up against this, correct? Against this ledge.
I don't remember.
Do you remember her saying that her head hurt when she bumped her head on the ledge?
No.
Do you remember Jennifer telling you not to jump on the beds?
No.
She told you it was okay to jump on the beds? Did she tell you it was all right to jump on the beds?
No.
No, okay. Tell me about what is in this picture, Millie.
A train set.
And what kind of a train set is that?
Some blocks.
Blocks. Did you like playing with that?
Yes.
And what do we see beside the train set?
The TV.
Okay, you had a TV in your room?
Yes.
And were you allowed to watch it?
Yes.
When were you allowed to watch it? Were you allowed to watch it any time?
No.
Were you allowed to watch it in the mornings when there were cartoons on?
I don't know.
And what is this a picture of?
The kitchen,
Okay, whose kitchen was that?
me and Layla's,
Okay, and what's in front of the kitchen?
a shopping cart.
Okay, and who did that belong to?
Both of us.
Tell me, did anybody else live at the house with you? With the Rosenbaums? Did anybody ever come and stay?
No,
No? Did they have 2 dogs?
I don't remember.
You don't remember Ptolemy?
No.
Okay. I'm going to show you what I've marked as Defendant's Exhibit 40 and ask you if you can identify that.
That's me and Layla standing in front of the door.
Standing in front of what door?
The front door?
Front door, okay. At this time, I would tender Defendant's Exhibit 40 with a stipulated date of July 31st, 2015.
Excuse me, no objection.
And then,
May I publish it?
yes.
Now, which one is you here, Millie?
The one closest to the door.
Okay. And what are you doing?
We were getting ready for bed.
Oh, okay. And that's what you slept in to go to bed?
Yes.
At this time, Your Honor, I would tender Defendant's Exhibit 40 with a stipulated date of July 31st, 2015.
Do this one,
May I publish?
has 40 been admitted? It's been admitted. 40's been admitted. That's 40, correct?
Yeah. Thank you. I want to show you what's been marked as Defendants 42 and 43. To see if you can identify those.
It's me at a Chick-fil-A party. And then me and Layla are jumping on bouncy houses.
Okay, and where was the bouncy house? Do you remember?
There was a festival at Chick-fil-A.
Okay. And how did you get to the festival?
We drove.
You drove, okay. I would tender 42 and 43 into evidence with stipulated date of August 1st, 2015.
No objection.
Admitted. 42 and 43.
May I publish? Now, really tell us, what is that on your face?
A butterfly.
Who put it there?
We got our face painted.
Did you ask for a butterfly?
Yes.
Did you like what you got?
Yes.
I'm going to show you the other picture. And what are you and Layla doing there?
Jumping on a bouncy house.
I want to show you what I marked as defendants 45, 46, and 47. Take a look at that and see if you can identify those pictures.
This is me and Layla standing by horses. This is us standing by a minion hay bale. And then Layla, I don't know what that machine is.
You don't know what that machine is, but what is Layla, who's it a picture of?
Layla.
Okay. At this time, I would tender into the record defendants 45, 46, and 47 with a stipulated date of September 19th, 2015.
No objection.
Admitted.
May I publish?
Admitted.
Millie, what was going on here?
We were standing by 2 horses
And do you know where that was?
at the petting zoo.
Okay, was that at the Fall Festival?
Yes.
And where did you get those dresses? Do you remember?
No.
What is this a picture of?
Layla.
And this?
That's a picture of me and Layla standing by a hay bale.
That's a hay bale? Why does he have just one eye?
I don't know.
Now, you talked about, you said that you had baths with Millie a lot, is that right? With Layla?
Yes.
Who are you?
Millie.
Millie, okay. Look at numbers 50 and 56. 50, let me just show you 50 first, and ask you, what is this a picture of?
Me at gymnastics.
Okay. And what is number 56 a picture of?
Me and Layla in the bathtub.
So at this time, I would tender into evidence defendants exhibit 50 and 56. 50 having a stipulated date of September 21st, 2015, and 56 having a date of October 4th, 2015.
No objection.
You may follow.
I'm going to show you pictures, defendants exhibit 60, 61, and 62. Let's see if you recognize that.
Me at my birthday party.
And where was your birthday party?
At Noah's Ark.
And what did,
Me getting ready to open presents. Me opening the presents.
I will tender into evidence 60, 61, and 62, all with dates of October 17th, 2015, and ask them to be published.
No objection.
You may follow.
What is that a picture of?
Me at my birthday party.
And who's standing with you? Do you know?
No.
You don't remember who those people are?
No.
Who is that a picture of?
Me standing by presents.
Okay. And what are you wearing, Millie?
An Elsa costume.
An Elsa costume. You like Elsa?
Yes.
Is she your favorite?
It used to be.
Used to be. Okay. Let me show you Defendant's Exhibit 61. What's going on in this picture?
I'm sitting getting ready to open presents.
And who's with you?
Nana.
And can you show us which one is Nana?
The one in the black. The one in the black sweater.
What is this picture again?
Me and Layla in the bathtub.
Okay. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about gymnastics. This is you at gymnastics, is that right?
Yes.
And what kind of things did you do at gymnastics there?
Cartwheels.
You did cartwheels back then too?
Yes.
When you lived with the Rosenbaums?
Yes.
Okay. So now do you do them really well?
Yes.
Okay. What else did you do there?
We did somersaults.
Okay. Did you do tumbling?
Yes.
Did you hang on the bars?
Yes.
I'm going to show you a number of pictures, and I want you to see if you can identify them for me.
Okay.
Okay? The first one, I'm especially curious to know what it is. What is that?
It's me at a Grinch party.
It's you
And the Grinch.
and the Grinch. Who else is there? Who are you dressed as?
Cindy Lou Who.
Cindy Lou Who. So you're Millie Lou Who?
Yes.
Okay, and who's the other picture of?
Me on my bed.
And the other picture?
Me on my bed.
Thank you. At this time, I will tender into evidence defendants 51, 63, and 64, with dates of November of 2015 and September of 2015.
Mayor, I have no objection to this recording.
Okay. What dates are you talking about?
Okay. Defendant's Exhibit 51 is September 23rd, 2015. Defendant's Exhibit 64 is November 7th, 2015. And Defendant's Exhibit 63 is November 4th, 2015. Millie, let's look at these pictures, and you tell me, you look very happy there, right?
Yes.
What are you doing that's making you so happy? Were you just happy that day?
Yes.
Let's look at Defendant's Exhibit 54 and explain to us how that hair got the way it did.
We put a cup under it.
You put a cup, who's we?
Me and Nana.
You and Nana made it?
Yes.
Okay. And who did you go see The Grinch with?
Nana.
You went with Nana. You didn't go with Miss Jennifer? Maybe Miss Jennifer?
Maybe.
Did maybe Miss Jennifer put the cup on your head?
Maybe.
What is this a picture of?
Me sitting on my bed.
Okay. You look very happy in that picture too, right?
Yes.
Last photos I want you to look at are these four. And these are Defendant's Exhibit 30, Defendant's Exhibit 38, 39, and 65 and 66.
Me and Layla hunting for Easter eggs.
Where was that?
I don't know.
Does it look like maybe it's the backyard where you...
Yes. Layla eating a sucker. Me with a bike behind me.
And whose bike is that?
I don't know. But it could be mine.
It could be yours. Did you know how to ride a bike?
No.
Did this bike have training wheels?
Yes.
And what's the last photo?
Me sitting in front of the house.
This time I would tender into the record. Defendant's Exhibit 38 with a stipulated date of July 25th. Defendant's Exhibit 39 with a stipulated date of July 28th. Defendant's Exhibit 65 and 66 with dates of November 11th, 2015.
No objection.
Admit. You may.
So what's going on here, Millie?
Me and Layla are hunting for Easter eggs.
Okay, and what's that board that's standing up there? Do you know?
No.
Okay. What is this a picture of?
Layla eating a sucker.
Was that a bicycle you rode?
Yes.
So you knew how to ride that bicycle, right?
Yes.
And this is a picture of you outside?
Yes.
And who's sitting out there?
Layla.
And who else? Can you tell?
No.
No, that's all the questions I have at this time.
Okay, thank you.